Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln wheat pennies coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're going to explore a coin that might just be hiding in your collection, or even your spare change. We're talking about the 1954 United States 1-cent coin. You may think it's just another penny, but let me tell you, this small piece of currency has an incredible value that might surprise you. So, sit tight, because by the end of this video, you'll be eager to check your coin stash and see if you've got a treasure worth far more than you could ever imagine. Let's take a step back and look at the history of the 1954 United States 1-cent coin. In 1954, the world was recovering from World War II, and the United States economy was booming. The coin itself features the iconic design of Abraham Lincoln, with the words, "In God We Trust," above his portrait and "E Pluribus Unum" on the reverse side, symbolizing unity in the nation. It was a time of great change and progress for the U.S., and this coin served as a small but important symbol of that era. But here's where it gets interesting: this coin is not just any ordinary penny. In fact, there are certain features about the 1954 penny that make it exceptionally rare and valuable. Most of these coins were widely circulated and spent as everyday currency. However, over time, many of them suffered from wear and tear, making them less desirable to collectors. But, a small number of 1954 pennies were struck with unique characteristics that set them apart from the rest. One of the key factors that make the 1954 penny so valuable is its rarity. These coins were produced in large quantities, but as time went on, only a select few managed to escape heavy circulation and remain in pristine, uncirculated condition. A coin that has been carefully stored, free from scratches or discoloration, is far rarer than you might think. The value of these well-preserved pennies skyrockets because collectors are always on the lookout for coins in excellent condition. Now, let's talk about errors and minting variations, which are what really make the 1954 penny a goldmine for collectors. Minting errors are incredibly common in the world of numismatics, and they can greatly increase the value of a coin. For example, some 1954 pennies were struck with doubled dies, which means the design on the coin was unintentionally stamped twice. This gives the coin a distinct, slightly off-center appearance that makes it stand out from other pennies. Another factor that makes certain 1954 pennies so valuable is die deterioration. Over time, the metal dies used to strike coins can become worn out, causing them to strike coins with imperfections. These errors can lead to coins with blurry, faint images or even coins with parts of the design missing entirely. If you come across a 1954 penny with these types of errors, you could be holding a rare piece that could fetch a hefty price at auction. But wait, there's more. There are also variations in the minting process that make some of these coins highly sought after. For example, some 1954 pennies were minted at the Philadelphia Mint, while others were produced at the Denver Mint. The Philadelphia Mint's version of the 1954 penny is generally more common, but the Denver version is rarer and more desirable to collectors. This subtle difference can have a significant impact on the coin's value. So, what's the real worth of a 1954 penny? Especially if you find one that's in perfect, uncirculated condition or has a rare error or variant? Let's get to the exciting part. A 1954 United States 1-cent coin in top condition, with a minting error or other rare features, can easily be worth $71,000. Yes, you heard that right, $71,000 for a single penny. Now, that's a serious payday for something you might have dismissed as just pocket change. It's crazy to think that something as small as a penny could have such a big price tag, but that's what makes coin collecting so fascinating. You never know what hidden treasures are lurking in your collection, and sometimes, a little attention to detail can lead to a fortune. So, if you happen to stumble upon a 1954 penny, be sure to inspect it carefully. Look for any unique characteristics, like minting errors, die variations, or signs that it might be in uncirculated condition. And don't forget to check whether it was minted in Philadelphia or Denver, as this could make all the difference in its value. If you enjoyed this dive into the world of rare coins and want to learn more about the treasures hiding in your pocket change, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future discoveries. Who knows? The next rare coin we talk about could be the one that lands you a huge windfall. Top 2, we have something truly special to talk about, and trust me, you're going to want to pay close attention. We're diving into a coin that might just be hiding in your collection or even in that jar of loose change you've been ignoring, the 1957 United States 1-cent coin. At first glance, you might think it's just another penny. After all, pennies are everywhere, right? But what if I told you that this particular penny, if in the right condition and with the right features, could be worth a small fortune? By the end of this video, you'll be checking your old coin stash with a whole new perspective. Stick with me, because we're going to explore why the 1957 penny is so much more than just a piece of copper. Let's start by taking a quick look at the history behind the 1957 penny. This coin was minted during a time when America was in the midst of post-World War II prosperity. The U.S. economy was growing, and the country was moving forward into the 1960s with optimism. The design of the 1957 penny features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, a design that has become iconic in American numismatics. On the reverse side, you'll find the famous wheat stalks, symbolizing the country's agricultural roots and representing the hard-working spirit of the American people. It's a simple, yet powerful, design that has stood the test of time. Now, let's dig deeper and uncover why this coin is so much more valuable than you might expect. While the 1957 penny was produced in large numbers and widely circulated, rarity is what truly makes certain versions of this coin stand out. The majority of these pennies have seen years of circulation, which means they've likely been worn down, scratched, and discolored. However, there are a small number of 1957 pennies that have been preserved in near-perfect, uncirculated condition. And this is where the value starts to climb. For collectors, the condition of the coin is everything. A penny that has been stored carefully, with no signs of wear, damage, or discoloration, is much rarer than you might think. These pristine examples are highly sought after because they represent the best possible version of the coin. When a coin is in uncirculated condition, it hasn't been exposed to the wear and tear of daily use, and that makes it significantly more valuable. The value of these pristine 1957 pennies can skyrocket, especially among collectors who specialize in finding coins that have been kept in mint condition for decades. But that's not all. There's more to the 1957 penny than just being in good condition. The 1957 penny is also known for having some unique minting errors and variations that make certain examples even more valuable. Let's talk about doubled die errors. These errors occur when the die used to stamp the coin is misaligned or mistakenly strikes the coin multiple times, creating a double image. For example, some 1957 pennies were struck with doubled letters or numbers on the reverse side, and this minting mistake makes them highly desirable to collectors. If you happen to come across a 1957 penny with this error, you've got a true gem on your hands. Another error to look out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned with the die during the minting process, causing part of the design to be cut off. Off-center coins are fascinating because they're visually striking, and their irregular shape makes them incredibly unique. These coins are often valued higher than their perfect counterparts because of their distinctive appearance and rarity. Additionally, there are other subtle die variations that can make certain 1957 pennies more valuable. For example, some coins were minted with slightly different features, like minor variations in the design or texture of the coin, which make them more collectible. These small but noticeable differences can significantly increase the value of a coin, especially when they are discovered in a batch of seemingly identical pennies. So, what's the potential worth of a 1957 penny, especially one that's in near-perfect condition or has a rare minting error? Well, if you're lucky enough to find one of these rarer pennies, get ready for this. A 1957 United States 1-cent coin could be worth as much as $88,000. Yes, you heard me correctly, $88,000 for a single penny. Imagine holding a coin that small, yet that valuable. It's truly mind-blowing. Now, you might be wondering, how do you know if your 1957 penny is worth that kind of money? The first thing to do is inspect it carefully. Look for any signs of wear, but also examine the details of the coin. Check for double dies, off-center strikes, or any other minting errors. Even small variations in the coin's design could be the key to unlocking its true value. And don't forget to look for those unblemished, uncirculated versions, which can be the most valuable of all. If you happen to find a 1957 penny that checks all the boxes, it might be worth getting it appraised by a professional numismatist or visiting a reputable coin dealer. They can help you determine whether your coin is a rare find and help you get the best price for it. So, next time you're flipping through your coin collection or digging through a jar of old change, take a moment to check for that 1957 penny. It could be worth more than you ever imagined. Top 3, we've got something truly exciting for you, an old gem that could be hiding right in your collection or even in your spare change. We're diving into the 1949 United States 1-cent coin, a coin that might look like any other penny at first glance but is packed with rarity and hidden value. So grab your magnifying glass and get ready to learn about why this coin could be worth a small fortune. Stick around till the end, because we'll be revealing just how much this little penny could fetch today. First, let's take a look at the history of the 1949 United States 1-cent coin. The year 1949 was a significant time in the United States. Post-World War II America was experiencing a boom. The economy was recovering, and life was getting back to normal for many people. The 1949 penny was part of a series of coins that were produced during a time of both stability and growth. At the heart of this coin is the beloved design of Abraham Lincoln, which has been featured on the penny since 1909. On the reverse side, you'll see the famous wheat stalks, symbolizing the country's agricultural roots. It's a simple, yet timeless design, one that many collectors adore. But here's the catch: the 1949 penny isn't just another regular coin. There are certain features of this penny that make it rare and desirable in the numismatic world. While most 1949 pennies were produced in large numbers, only a small percentage of them were preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition. And when I say pristine, I mean perfect, without any scratches, discoloration, or wear. This is key because the value of a coin dramatically increases when it is in mint condition, especially when it's over 70 years old. Now, let's talk about the rarity factor. The 1949 penny was struck in both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with the Philadelphia version being the more common one. However, there's a catch: some of the 1949 pennies minted in Denver were part of a special batch that was accidentally struck with a die error. This resulted in coins that had noticeable differences in their design, like double die errors or misaligned strikes. These minting errors, while seemingly small, can make a huge difference in the value of the coin. So why do these minting errors matter so much? Well, collectors love error coins because they are unique. If a coin is struck with a mistake during the minting process, it becomes one of a kind, and that rarity makes it incredibly valuable. A 1949 penny with a double die error, where parts of the design appear more than once, can make the coin significantly more valuable. These types of errors are extremely sought after because they are so rare and hard to find. Imagine holding a penny that has an imperfection that makes it even more valuable than the ones produced perfectly. But wait, there's more. Some collectors also seek out the 1949 penny in uncirculated condition, which is even rarer. Many of these coins were used in daily transactions, so most of them are worn down from years of circulation. However, a small number of them escaped heavy use and were kept in perfect condition. If you manage to find one of these coins, it could be worth significantly more than the face value of a penny. And let's not forget about the key date for certain collectors: 1949, yes. This version of the penny was minted in San Francisco, and although it wasn't produced in huge quantities, it's become a favorite among numismatists. The San Francisco mintage was much lower than other mints, making it much rarer and in higher demand among those who collect key dates. So now for the big reveal: how much is this rare, error-prone, mint condition 1949 penny worth? Well, depending on its condition and whether it has any errors or unique features, the value can be quite substantial. A 1949 United States 1-cent coin in pristine condition, especially one with a rare error or unique variant, can be worth $88,000. That's right, $88,000 for a single penny. It's mind-blowing to think that something so small can have such a massive price tag. So, what should you do if you think you have one of these rare coins? The first step is to inspect it carefully. Look for any signs of wear or damage, as well as any minting errors like doubled dies, misalignments, or other unusual features. And if you do find one, don't just toss it aside thinking it's just another old penny. Take the time to check its authenticity and value. You never know when you might have stumbled upon a true treasure. Top 4. We're about to explore a hidden gem from the past that could be sitting right under your nose. Yes, I'm talking about the 1953 United States 1-cent coin. You might think it's just another penny, but hold on to your seat, because this particular coin has a fascinating history and can actually be worth far more than you might expect. If you're a coin lover, make sure to stick around until the end, because we'll be revealing the value of this penny, and trust me, you'll want to know the price. Let's first take a trip back in time to 1953. The United States was in the midst of the post-World War II boom, and life was gradually returning to normal for many Americans. People were enjoying an economic upturn, and consumer products were flowing into the market. Amidst this period of prosperity, the 1953 1-cent coin was minted, featuring the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side. This portrait of Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, has become one of the most recognized and beloved designs in coin history. On the reverse, you'll see the famous wheat stalks, symbolizing the nation's agricultural heritage. This design was used on pennies from 1909 until 1958, and it holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. For many, the wheat cent represents an era of simpler times, but little did most know that this seemingly humble penny would one day become something far more valuable. Now, let's talk about the rarity and collectability of the 1953 penny. The first thing to understand is that not all 1953 pennies are created equal. While the coin was produced in large numbers, most of them were circulated and spent as everyday currency, which means they've gone through the usual wear and tear of being handled, dropped, and tossed around. Most of these pennies are still in circulation today, but they're hardly worth more than their face value. However, that's where the story takes a turn. There is a small number of 1953 pennies that managed to survive in pristine, uncirculated condition, untouched by the wear of daily transactions. And here's the catch: these uncirculated coins are extremely rare. Think about it, when a penny is left in perfect condition for over 70 years, that makes it a very special find for any collector. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is king. A 1953 penny in perfect, uncirculated condition is a lot harder to find than you might think, and for collectors, this is where the value starts to soar. Coins that are well preserved, free from scratches, discoloration, or any signs of wear, are much more valuable than those that have been worn down over the years. If you happen to have one of these pristine examples, you might just be sitting on something worth far more than you expected, but that's not the only thing that can make a 1953 penny valuable. The minting errors on some of these coins make them even more sought after. In the world of coin collecting, error coins are like treasure because they are unique and one of a kind. These errors happen when there's a mistake during the minting process, and those mistakes can lead to coins with unusual features that collectors go crazy over. Some 1953 pennies were struck with double die errors, which means the design on the coin is stamped multiple times, creating a ghostly effect. This can make certain parts of the coin, such as the date or letters, appear to be doubled or blurry. Imagine having a coin where the year, 1953, looks like it's been stamped twice. This is the kind of mistake collectors dream about. Double die coins are among the most valuable error coins because they're so rare and visually striking. Even the tiniest error on a coin can make it a collector's dream, so always be on the lookout for these little imperfections that could turn a regular penny into a priceless treasure. Another error you should look out for is the off-center strike, where the coin isn't properly aligned with the die during the minting process. This results in part of the design being cut off, leaving a coin with a unique, misaligned appearance. Off-center coins are fascinating, and collectors are often willing to pay a premium for these visually distinctive pieces. So now that you know about the rarity and errors that make the 1953 penny so special, let's talk about the value. If you have a 1953 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition or one with a rare minting error like a double die or off-center strike, you could be looking at a significant payday. A 1953 United States 1-cent coin in excellent condition, especially one with an error, can be worth as much as $80,000. Yes, you heard that right, $80,000 for a single penny. That's not a typo, it's the real deal. So, what should you do if you think you might have one of these rare coins? The first thing you should do is inspect it carefully. Look for any signs of wear and check the design closely for any doubling, misalignments, or other imperfections. If you find a coin with a minting error, don't just toss it aside, this could be your ticket to a substantial reward. And if you think you've got a rare one, consider having it appraised by a professional or taking it to a trusted coin dealer to get an accurate valuation. Remember, coin collecting is all about patience and attention to detail. The next time you're sifting through your coins or looking through your collection, take a moment to check for the 1953 penny. It could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Top 5. We're diving into a coin that might be sitting quietly in your collection or even hiding in your spare change jar, a coin that could be worth far more than you might think. Today, we're talking about the 1971 United States 1-cent coin. Now, I know what you're thinking, it's just another penny, right? But trust me, you'll want to hear the full story because this coin holds some serious rarity and hidden value that can make any collector's heart race. Let's start by going back to 1971. The United States was in the midst of a lot of changes. The economy was adjusting in the wake of the Vietnam War, and there were significant political and cultural shifts happening. The year 1971 also marked an important moment in U.S. coinage history. This was the year that the penny underwent a slight design change, but even more importantly, it was the beginning of a new era for coin collectors. The 1971 1-cent coin was produced in large quantities, but not all of them were created equal. And that's where the value lies. If you look at the design of the 1971 penny, you'll see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, which has been featured on the penny since 1909. But flip it over, and you'll see the familiar Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. This design, created by Frank Gasparo, was used from 1959 until 2008 and holds a lot of historical significance. While it's a familiar design to many, this specific year, 1971, is more than just another run-of-the-mill penny. It marks the first year that the penny was produced in large quantities with the new cupronickel composition. While the change in material didn't make headlines back then, it set the stage for a lot of what makes this coin so valuable today. Now, let's get to the rarity aspect of the 1971 penny. While most of the 1971 pennies were produced and circulated widely, making them easy to find, there's a certain subset of coins from this year that collectors are actively hunting for. One of the most important factors for determining a coin's value is its condition. Most of the 1971 pennies were heavily circulated, used in day-to-day transactions, worn down by years of handling, and likely damaged by the wear and tear of being in people's pockets. However, there's a rare group of pennies from this year that survived in near-perfect, uncirculated condition. These are the ones that collectors are after. And let me tell you, if you find one of these, it could be worth a lot more than you might expect. A coin's condition plays a massive role in its value. If you can find a 1971 penny that hasn't seen the wear and tear of daily use, it's a highly prized find for any collector. Uncirculated coins are more valuable because they're seen as pristine examples of the coin, and there are fewer of them available in this condition. Most coins in circulation have been, well, circulated, and finding one that's been kept safe, stored away, and free from any damage is what sets the rare ones apart from the rest. But wait, there's more to the 1971 penny than just condition. The next thing to consider is the potential for minting errors. Coin collectors know that errors can drastically increase the value of a coin, and the 1971 penny is no exception. One of the most notable errors that can be found on some of these pennies is the double die error. Double die errors occur when the design is stamped multiple times on the coin, creating a ghost-like image that makes parts of the coin appear doubled. This could happen to the date, the inscription, or even Lincoln's portrait. These errors are incredibly rare, which makes them highly collectible. If you've got a 1971 penny with any kind of double die error, you're sitting on a piece of numismatic history. Another error that can increase the value of a 1971 penny is a misaligned die strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned with the press during the minting process, leaving part of the design off-center or completely misaligned. These coins are unusual and stand out from the rest, which makes them even more desirable for collectors looking for unique and one-of-a-kind pieces. If you've got a 1971 penny with either of these errors, you've got yourself a rare find that could bring in some serious cash. So now, let's get to the exciting part. How much is this 1971 penny worth? While the majority of these coins are worth just a few cents, the value increases significantly if you find one in uncirculated condition or with a rare error. A 1971 penny in pristine condition or one with a minting error could be worth as much as $67,000. Yes, you heard that right, $67,000 for a single penny. That's an incredible amount of money for something that might have just been sitting in your change jar for years. If you think you found one of these rare pennies, don't just brush it off as a regular coin. Take the time to inspect it closely. Look for any signs of wear, but also check for any errors or variations that might make it unique. If you think your penny could be worth a significant amount, it might be worth having it professionally appraised or visiting a reputable coin dealer who can help you understand its true value. So, there you have it. The 1971 United States 1-cent coin may look like just another penny, but for the lucky collectors who know what to look for, it can be a goldmine. Always keep your eyes peeled for those rare finds in your coin collection. You never know, that 1971 penny might just be the one that turns into a treasure. Top 6, we're about to uncover something truly special, something that could be sitting in your collection or even in your spare change jar, unnoticed and undervalued. I'm talking about the 1973 United States 1-cent coin, a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance but has an intriguing backstory and a rare value that you won't believe. Trust me, you're going to want to hear every detail of this, especially if you're a serious coin collector. By the end of this video, you might just be checking your change with new eyes. So, let's travel back to 1973. The United States was experiencing a time of significant change, politically, economically, and culturally. The 1973 penny, part of the larger Lincoln Memorial series, was minted during a time when the U.S. economy was shifting and inflation was beginning to rise. While the world around it was changing, this penny was making its way into everyday transactions, circulating throughout the nation as part of the economic flow. Little did anyone know, this humble coin would someday be the subject of serious interest from collectors. The 1973 penny features the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side, a design that has become iconic in the history of U.S. coins. This memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, honors Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. It's a powerful image that captures Lincoln's legacy, symbolizing freedom and unity. The coin's obverse side features the famous portrait of Lincoln himself, a design by Victor David Brenner that has graced the penny since 1909. Now, let's talk about rarity. While millions of 1973 pennies were produced, it's important to note that not all of them are valuable. Most of the pennies from this year were circulated heavily, and due to their everyday use, they've likely been worn down or damaged over the years. But here's the catch: not every 1973 penny was circulated, and some of these pennies survived in exceptional, uncirculated condition. For collectors, a coin in mint condition is highly sought after. These uncirculated pennies are rare, and they often sell for a premium because they haven't been subjected to the usual damage from years of handling. If you've got a 1973 penny in perfect condition, free of scratches, discoloration, or any other signs of wear, this is the kind of coin that collectors are constantly looking for. Uncirculated coins are worth much more than their face value, and the 1973 penny is no exception. The truth is, the older a coin gets, the harder it is to find in perfect condition. Over the decades, most of these pennies have been spent, lost, or damaged, which makes those that are still in pristine condition truly valuable, but condition isn't the only thing that can make a 1973 penny worth a small fortune. In the world of coin collecting, minting errors are like gold. They make a coin unique and incredibly desirable to collectors who are always searching for one-of-a-kind pieces. The 1973 penny is no stranger to minting errors, and some of these mistakes can really add to the coin's value. One of the most exciting errors collectors look for on a 1973 penny is the double die error. This error occurs when the design on the coin is struck multiple times, resulting in a doubled image. You might notice the date, letters, or other details looking fuzzy or blurry. That's a sign of the double die error. Double die pennies are highly sought after because they are unique and rare. Even the slightest doubling in the design can increase the coin's worth significantly. If you happen to have a 1973 penny with this error, you might just be holding onto a treasure. Another error that can make the 1973 penny more valuable is an off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned in the press during the minting process. The result is a misaligned image, where part of the design is cut off or skewed. These errors are visually striking, and collectors are drawn to them because they represent a mistake in the coin-making process. An off-center 1973 penny can be a unique find and may fetch a much higher price than a standard coin. So, now you're probably wondering, just how much is this 1973 penny worth? While most of these coins are worth only a penny or two, the value skyrockets when you find one in uncirculated condition or with a rare minting error. A 1973 penny in mint condition or one with a minting error can be worth as much as $62,000. That's right, $62,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that something so small could hold so much value, but that's the magic of rare and unique coins. So, what should you do if you think you have one of these rare 1973 pennies? Start by inspecting your coin carefully. Check for any double die errors, off-center strikes, or any other unique features. If you suspect you have an error coin, it's always a good idea to have it professionally appraised by a reputable coin dealer or get it graded by a trusted coin grading service. They'll be able to tell you if your penny is a rare and valuable piece of numismatic history. As always, the world of coin collecting is filled with opportunities to find hidden treasures. Whether you're an experienced collector or just starting out, there's always something exciting to discover. And remember, even a coin that seems ordinary at first glance could turn out to be worth a small fortune if you know what to look for. Top 7 and last rare coin, we've got something truly exciting to talk about, an often overlooked coin that could be hiding in your collection or even in your spare change jar right now. I'm talking about the 1981 United States 1-cent coin, also known as the penny. Now, most people probably don't think twice about the humble penny, but trust me, there's a lot more to this particular year's penny than meets the eye. By the end of this video, you might just find yourself checking your pocket change in a whole new way. Let's set the scene. The year is 1981, and America is going through some pretty big changes. The Reagan administration had just begun, and the country was facing an economic recession with rising inflation. The penny from this year was produced during a time when the U.S. economy was shifting, and people were using their coins more than ever. But what makes the 1981 penny so unique? Well, it's not the design, which remains largely unchanged, but rather its rarity, condition, and the errors it might carry that make it worth far more than just 1 cent. First, let's talk about the design. The 1981 penny still features the iconic Abraham Lincoln portrait on the obverse side, a design created by Victor David Brenner back in 1909. And on the reverse side, we see the familiar Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, which has been part of the penny's design since 1959. This simple yet powerful imagery has made the penny one of the most recognizable coins in the world, but here's where things get interesting. The 1981 penny isn't all that different from other pennies in terms of appearance, but there's something about this year's coin that's making it stand out in the world of collectors. While millions of these pennies were minted and circulated across the United States, not all of them were created equal. The rarity of a 1981 penny comes down to condition. Most of the pennies minted in 1981 were used for daily transactions and, as a result, have been worn down over time. But the ones that survived in near-perfect condition are the ones that are in high demand. If you have a 1981 penny that looks like it's just been pulled from a brand new roll, then you've got something special on your hands. Coins that have been well preserved and uncirculated can be worth significantly more than their face value. And that's not all. There are a few key factors that can make a 1981 penny even more valuable. One of the most important things collectors look for is minting errors. You see, minting errors are like the holy grail for coin collectors. These errors can make a coin unique and incredibly valuable, especially when it's a mistake that only affects a small number of coins. The 1981 penny is no exception. There are a few types of errors that collectors are on the lookout for, and if you happen to have one, your penny could be worth far more than you ever imagined. One of the most sought-after errors in 1981 pennies is the double die error. This happens when the design is struck onto the coin more than once, creating a doubled image. It can happen to the date, the letters, or even Lincoln's portrait. The result? A ghostly, doubled image that stands out from the rest. Collectors go crazy for these coins because they are rare and unique. If you have a 1981 penny with a double die error, you might just be holding onto something worth a lot more than 1 cent. Another error to look out for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned in the minting press, causing part of the design to be cut off or shifted to one side. Off-center pennies can look very different from the usual coins, and their unusual appearance makes them highly desirable to collectors who want something unusual and rare in their collection. But here's the thing, whether your 1981 penny has a minting error or is simply in pristine, uncirculated condition, it's important to remember that condition is everything. The difference between a worn-down penny and an uncirculated one can mean the difference between a few cents and a small fortune. If you've got a penny from 1981 that's been carefully stored away, and it's free from any significant damage or wear, you've got a valuable coin in your hands. So, just how much could a 1981 penny be worth? Well, let me tell you, if you have one of these rare pennies in perfect condition, or even better, with one of those minting errors we talked about, your penny could be worth as much as $58,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $58,000 for a single penny. Who would have thought that something as small and seemingly insignificant as a penny could be worth so much? But that's the magic of rare coins. Now, if you think you found a 1981 penny that might be worth more than its face value, it's worth taking a closer look. Check the date, the design, and carefully inspect the coin for any errors. If you're unsure, consider getting the coin professionally graded by a reputable coin grading service. They can help you determine the true value of your find and give you a better idea of what it's worth in the current market. So, there you have it, the 1981 penny might seem like just another ordinary coin, but with the right condition or minting error, it can be worth $58,000. Remember, the world of coin collecting is full of hidden treasures, and sometimes it's the smallest, most overlooked coins that turn out to be the most valuable. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new discovery. Keep hunting for those rare finds, and as always, happy collecting. Thanks for watching.